Hi, I'm Kathy Dooley-Smith, and I'm the President-elect of the Friends of Tennessee Libraries. This presentation is part of the Friends of Tennessee Libraries 2020 annual meeting. And for the last 28 years, we have been promoting and advocating for libraries and friends by mentoring and supporting friends groups, both old and new, all across our state. We're happy to present this virtual session as part of our ongoing effort. For more information about Friends of Tennessee Libraries, you can go to our website, friendstnlibraries.org. Now, in addition to my role as FOTL, I am the president of the Friends of the Brentwood Library. And I know all too well the struggles and challenges that Friends groups are facing as they try to fundraise amid a pandemic. I'm delighted to moderate this panel of fellow library lovers and Friends supporters to talk about the new face of fundraising. Our goal is to start the conversation, provide you with some ideas and support, and hopefully you will leave with practical plans that you can implement for your organization. Panelists, thank you all for sharing your time and expertise with us today. I'd like to start with a little background. So if you would introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your library and your friends group current status. Jacqueline, let's start with you.
Okay, I'm Jacqueline Wallace, president for the Friends of the Memphis Public Libraries here in Shelby County. My presidency will end in December of this year, December 31st. That will be 4 years. I've been on the board total about 15 years in total. So I'll be looking for other things that I'm going to do with my time and my talent. You want pre-COVID information right now?
Sure. Or what your current status is. What's going on right now in your library?
Currently, the library is open. We are doing limited people. We are doing temperature checks at the staff entrance and at the public entrance. We have 18 branches. They are not, let me go back. All the branches are open. Traffic is kind of low at just about all of them, but they are open. The main branch has probably the most traffic, so that's going pretty good. Our online store has been open for some time, and it's business as usual on there. Traffic is great to the online store. Still doing excellent with the weekly, amounts of monies that we're making and what have you. Our second editions bookstore is open. We've changed the hours from 10 to 6 to 10 to 2. And we do have the traffic flow arrows with limited patrons in, but the amount of money we were making per hour doing regular pre-COVID is exactly the same. We're still making that kind of money. People are still actually buying even more. And the reason that the bookstore staff thought that was attributed to was because we had received some phenomenal donations. So we have some really fantastic books, and they're coming in and buying them like crazy. So that's going very well. We have a major change because we do recycling, and we have a major change with that in that because it's market driven, we are not going to be able to keep the hardback books with the back, the front, and the spine on it. We would have to remove those from going forward. So we're going to make some changes with that because we were looking at having to purchase a bandsaw, and we think that's going to be a major hazard to do something like that. So right now that's up for discussion in terms of what we're going to do about the hardback books. We may end up having to donate them ourselves to other places, where they have books and they're still taking them. But some of the books that are up for recycle, if they are in really poor shape, we're really going to have to just go ahead and try to just discard them because we had been keeping over 100 tons of product out of landfills because of our recycling efforts. Like I said, we have the volunteers coming back with 6 people per day. We're only given 4 hours per day. In fact, I have a team and they're actually in about 30 minutes to kind of really see exactly where we need to focus our greatest attention, because this will be just the beginning of the volunteers returning downstairs. We'll have 2 in one particular hallway where the books and donations come in, 2 more where we go through the scanning, and another 2 in the sorting room itself, so we can keep the distance. We're providing the PPE for everyone as needed, and we're allowing them, because we're only doing 10 to 2, because you got to keep the mask on constantly, to either do the whole 4 hours if you want, or 2 2-hour shifts, or however they want to, but at no time will we have more than 6 people present. And also during this time, because our funds were not coming in as they normally would, because we did close down for a period of time from March when it started until we reopened the online store in May. So what we ended up doing, and I know some other branches may have this and I don't know, but we have monies invested in our stocks and what have you. So I had consulted with our CPA, and we made a major transfer of funds to help boost up the account significantly so we can still take care of the library's needs. And they have gone to exclusively virtual, which has been fantastic. They are not limiting what they're offering. And we've been able to cut costs dramatically because of the virtual offerings. So that was a tremendous help to make that investment, not to mention, because my term will end, I didn't want to turn it over with no money in the account for the new president to be able to operate the things that he or she would like to do. So that's kind of what's going on with us right now. I would say pretty much, business as usual, just limited, but we're making the money, it's coming, so it's good.
Just coming a little differently, maybe.
Exactly. Mm-hmm.
All right. Hi, Sharon. How about you tell us what's going on?
Okay, I'm Sharon Smith, and I am the past president for the Friends of the Knox County Public Library. Our fiscal year is a little bit different. We run from July 1st to June 30th. So when all of this hit back in March, we were just preparing for our annual book sale, which is in April every year. And so with everything shut down, we could not have that. And of course, the library shut down. We didn't have access to our books or anything. So, so we took a pause just for a little bit, just to kind of decide what we were going to do. And we did reschedule our book drive for the last weekend in June. We thought, oh, things are going to be improved by then. And we kept that date. But as time went on, we saw that it got even actually worse here in Knox County. So we decided just to cancel the book sales. All of our spring branch sales were closed. And of course, the library was closed too. So at that point, we just didn't do anything. Our volunteers stayed home. We just tried to stay safe. We did start reaching out virtually though, and looked at webinars and stuff. And there was lots of advice on there that the support was there for our libraries, that people, our friends, they knew what we were going through, and the community knew, and that they felt like that it would be willing to ask, to say, because we can't have our book drive or our annual sale and things, our library still has needs, and we know that those needs are going to be there. So we embarked on a campaign to do an email and challenged our community through monetary donations, and we were quite successful. In fact, we raised almost as much money as we would have by having our annual book sale. So, so that sort of got us through the year, and we were very fortunate that we were in good financial stability. We have some investment portfolios and a rainy day fund. And we also applied for the Paycheck Protection Program that was offered to help pay for our coordinator's salary, who at that point, because her office is in our downtown main library, she also had to go home. And she is continuing to work at home. She has a daughter, and her daughter has decided to attend school virtually. So we are able for our coordinator to go into the office 1 or 2 days a week now that the library system is open back up. But that Paycheck Protection Program came in money. So now once things have opened back up, the library is opened. Our library staff our Knox County, they were all furloughed I think it was 6 weeks. So that was hard. Morale was, I think, a little bit hard. People had been used to working. But we, as friends groups, we reached out to them as much as we could and tried to support them through that. So now our library is up and running. Of course, a lot of it is still downloadable materials. Our library did a great job in offering the community things that they wanted online. So that was just phenomenal. And now we have a library to go curbside that has opened up. Our computers access just opened up last week. So there's baby steps that are being taken. And right now we're just in support of them. We do have our bookstore that's located in our downtown branch with limited access hours also. We're making a little bit of money, not great though. So we have tried to think of new creative ideas. And we were going to offer online sales, bag sales, and have our patrons pick those books up once they bought them online at like 3 of our branches. But our library director has felt like that is just not a good thing for us to do right now. And so we have placed that idea on hold. We are not allowing any book donations right now, which is also hurting. Our books that are returned to the library right now are still in quarantine for 72 hours. And so the branches, there's no way to get books, and we don't have anywhere to store them. So that creates a problem. And we have all these books that we still need to get rid of. So we have decided to focus. We have a program called Books in the Community where we give books to nonprofits, Boys and Girls Club and other just nonprofits here in the community, and we are going to really let them have the books just to promote reading and goodwill in the community until we can open back up. We were thinking about having some outside branch sales in the fall, and again, our library director does not want us to pursue that. So, but the good part is we are in good financial stability. Our volunteers are still motivated. They're sort of wanting to work more than we can have them work.
Right.
But we're doing our best and trying to think of other things. But that's where we are right now.
Awesome. All right, Dick, it's your turn.
Okay. I'm Dick Burgess. I'm the past president of the Friends. And I am currently the volunteer coordinator, which is a bigger job. We are currently open. The library opened back up to the public July 5th. And we scheduled our first sale for late July. And we've been having, let me back up a little bit. We originally were all having quarterly sales every 3 months, and the last one we had was March. And immediately after that, we shut down. And once we opened back up, we rescheduled a sale, and we had to rethink it a lot before we opened back up for sales, because we would get a tremendous crowd of people, especially on the first day of the sale, and we knew that wasn't acceptable. So we thought we would split it up into smaller sales more often. And originally we were thinking 2 sales a week. We began to realize that was about as much work as doing a quarterly sale, and now we're doing it twice a week. We eliminated the Wednesday sale, and we are currently doing 1 sale a week on Saturday. And there usually is a lot of prep for the sales, and we've eliminated a lot of that. We've made the analogy that you're coming into my kitchen while I'm still working there and you want a snack. Okay, find it for yourself. And so the book processes have continued, regardless of customers there or not. And that's worked out well. But I believe in the near future, probably November, we're going to reduce that to one sale a month. And we feel like that will probably not diminish the sales volume that we're getting in as far as dollars go. I think it'll still be the same. When we first had the shutdown, of course, we all shut down. Everything was down, but the county kept the employees inside the library working, and first thing that occurred to us was, what do we do with eBay? Because there's sales still coming in there, and we needed at least to fulfill those sales, those purchases that were already in process. And so we were given access to the basement where our sales occur, and we were able to process those shipping commitments and get them out of there. And it just continued. We continued to run eBay, and because we had a lot of books out there, and the sales just continued. Neither we nor the library administration could see us turning our back on those sales. So we throughout the shutdown, our eBay store has continued to work and produce. And the amazing thing that we found was that compared to a year ago, the eBay sales volume has doubled. So that's kind of like that was our little offshoot of a fundraiser, and now it's the main thing, and it's doing quite well. In fact, we could probably just do with eBay and let it go with that, but that wouldn't work in our community. So yeah, we were throughout the shutdown, and we were shut down for 4 months until July. We continued with the eBay sales, and we, at the same time as the library started taking books back in, which I believe was in June, early June, we opened up our donation bins again, and that has been a flood. I mean, Blount County is just wonderful for that, and we've gotten in tons of donations. We have a great deal of space downstairs, so we can isolate these books and process them when they ripen. Same as the library's doing upstairs. They're taking the books back in as well, and they're quarantining them for I believe 72 hours, and then cleaning them, wiping them down, all that. So quite honestly, financially, we haven't skipped a beat. It's going well. It's not the same. The sales are smaller. The prep time is a lot less. I did a study between comparing February to August, and our volunteer hours have decreased by about 40%. People either can't come in, normal attrition, and no new volunteers coming in. So it's maybe a little less work, or maybe a little more work, I'm not sure, but certainly less people. And that's a challenge going forward right now.
Awesome. All right, Danielle.
Okay, well, I will talk about, my name is Danielle Vélez, and I'm the program manager for the Dolly Parton's Imagination Library of Knox County. Our program is housed in the Knox County Public Library. The Friends of the Knox County Public Library are our 501c3 for fundraising purposes. So the Friends support us in that capacity in Knoxville. I was also, because I'm an employee of the Knox County Public Library and manage that program, we were also shut down, I believe, in March. We were placed on administrative leave to be at home. And so I was at home for several weeks, working but not really working. We were placed on administrative leave, so I was not supposed to work, which is difficult to do at home. And then I believe we came back, then we were placed on furlough with the library. Then we were brought back from furlough, I believe the first week of June. So after furlough, we got together with I have an advisory board, and we got together and decided, normally we have a luncheon in September in the fall. And throughout the time we were talking about it, we decided we'll just wait and see how things go, see if we're able to actually hold the fundraiser in the fall, not knowing in March what was going to happen or in June. So we waited until sort of the last minute to try and decide, do we want to host an in-person fundraiser or do we want to cancel it? What would be the best thing to do? So I believe sort of towards the end of June, we decided it wasn't going to be possible to hold an in-person fundraiser. And the one that we did last year was at Cherokee Country Club. There were about 200 people. It was a luncheon. So we had a silent auction, and gathering that many people in person, we just, not knowing what to expect, we decided that wasn't the route we were going to be able to take. So like most organizations, you have to decide, do you want to cancel it all together? Do you want to postpone it? Or do we want to choose another option and move forward? And we realized, and after looking around, that we needed to do something. We couldn't just cancel it all together. We do rely on those funds. The Imagination Library program did not stop mailing books at all during, has not since the pandemic started. So we continue to mail out. In Knox County, we mail out about 20,000 books every month. So each month we have to pay for those books. And they continue to ship out, which was great because families were still getting their books while they were at home. So we didn't have to worry about that, but we needed to raise funds. So we decided this year, our Seeds of Imagination luncheon, we would do a virtual luncheon. So we had a board member that had just started working with a new company in Knoxville that's called Lunch Pool. And they had just started, it's sort of a Zoom type format of a virtual event, but when you come into the event, you're seated at tables. And so you can only see, like a Zoom meeting, you can only see the people that are seated at your table, and you can move around to other tables and see the people at those tables. But then once the program begins, it comes on in a presentation format, and you can see just the person that's presenting at that time. So we decided to do that platform, and our sponsors, not only did we get all the sponsors back from the previous year's event, we got at least 10 new sponsors. So our sponsorship money increased greatly last year. We decided to charge $15 for a ticket to the luncheon, which $15 supports one child for 1 year's worth of books for Imagination Library. So we had $15 tickets. And sold, I think, about 120 tickets. We ended up having about 122 people that were logged on live for the luncheon event. And we ended up raising, our net for the event was just over $65,000, which is over what we raised at last year's luncheon, which was an in-person luncheon. So it was very successful. People were very receptive to still supporting the event, still coming, still giving. It's been great to see how willing people were to give back and to give to the program. So it was very successful, and it was a great decision on our part not to cancel, not to postpone, but to just move forward and attempt a virtual event. So it was successful for us. We've already talked about, we hosted it last week on September 17th. So we're, still talking about it and seeing, not sure what next year holds, but we know we do need to do something. So whether it be a virtual event or an in-person event, but the virtual one was very successful, and we had a lot of people that that enjoyed it. We had we had music. Of course, it was Dolly Parton themed, so we had Dolly Parton songs that they played. We played an online trivia game that people could play along with their cell phone. So you see it on the screen, and then you answer with your cell phone. And we had several people that, I think there was like 60 people that participated in the trivia game. We did also a recording of different people around the community reading an Imagination Library book, and we mashed all those together. So it was sort of a group reading of an Imagination Library book, and we showed that. So it was a great way for us to get our message out there in a time when we can't get together, and we haven't had any in-person meetings since March. All of our board meetings have been via Zoom. All of our event meetings have been via Zoom. So it is doable, and it is possible to still get that message out there and raise funds for programs. So it was a good success.
Awesome. I love that you could go into tables and then be a little social butterfly and go to other tables. That's a great format. And that was called Lunch Pool?
Lunch Pool.
Lunch Pool. I have it now. I got it. That's so great. All right. Diane is our president of Friends of the Tennessee Libraries. Diane, do you want to talk a little bit about what's going on in your library?
Sure. I am affiliated with the King Family Library in Sevier County, and we have been open since 2010. I was originally part of the Board of Trustees and was recruited to start the Friends group for that library, which was a fascinating endeavor, but really, really gratifying. We found a lot of people in the community who are so excited to have a brand new library there. Our library was only closed for a few weeks, but our Friends group hiatus we probably didn't start up again until June. Given our demographics of our friend group, we haven't been able to do any gathering type of fundraisers at all. We have a children's book sale this Saturday that 4 people volunteered to come help with, and I was actually stunned at that response, so we'll see how that goes. We do have a bookstore in the library. We have 1 volunteer working now, and the staff of the History Center, which is adjacent to the bookstore, is letting customers in one by one. So that's a great help to us, but staffing for that is just not happening right now. So aside from being thrilled to be part of Friends of Tennessee Libraries, I'm here to hear your ideas and what you've tried as alternatives that maybe our small group could adapt, because we're frankly kind of stuck right now.
Okay, well, I told you that I am the president of the Friends of the Brentwood Library, and we closed on very short notice, as most of you all did, and we actually suspended our Amazon store in 24 hours. And we stayed closed for 6 or 8 weeks. During the first couple of weeks of that, our library staff continued to be in the building, and they did projects they don't normally have time for, which you should see a big W for weeding. And so I would get phone calls and emails saying, we weeded 3,000 items from whatever collection, at which point I would hyperventilate because I couldn't go to the library. We couldn't acclimate those and file them into our system. So that was a little nerve-wracking. I'm glad they got caught up. So we have had, not only since we've reopened, an influx of weeded items, which we distribute and sell, but we have had such great support from our community. The minute we reopened donations, even though we restricted the times and the days that you could come and donate, we absolutely had a flood of donations. And like you guys said, the quality of our donations is really much higher than it typically is. So every item that we have come through our donation system now is quarantined for 3 days. And we thought, oh, we'll just put them here on this back counter. It'll be fine. We'll do one day. And that didn't even last until like 9 o'clock on the first day. And so we took over the craft room and the storytime room, which, because they're not having programming, is not terrible right now, but it is daunting to go in there and see tables and tables and tables of books with little Post-it notes, the date on them. But I think we have sort of kind of caught up. We have installed what I call a passive donation system. We bought a large metal rolling cart to put at the back door, and bought a cover for it, a clear plastic cover, and put our donation receipts in there. And so now people can donate and they don't have to ring the doorbell, and tech staff doesn't have to get up and come back there. So that seems to be working well. That's a new improvement this week. But we did reach out to our city for the July sale. Obviously, we canceled April, but our quarterly book sales are a large percentage of what we make every year. Amazon's great. Amazon comes in at about 20 or 25% of our overall fundraising. But we've really wanted to try July sale, and the city and the library were very helpful with us and very accommodating. We provided them with a written proposal of what we were going to do. We spaced the aisles differently. We had one-way traffic flow. We moved checkout out to an adjacent room. We limited the number of people that could come in, and we had a really successful sale. And we are on the cusp of another one for October, hopefully. So it is different. We're trying to maintain as much as we normally can, and the response from our community was very accommodating, where in years past, if we moved one group, if we moved biographies from the spot that they had been for 15 years in the book sale, it was pandemonium. They were very accommodating. They were just grateful to be able to come out and shop, and they were grateful to support the library and have new books. And so all of kind of our fears about whether or not people would show up and whether they would wear their mask and whether they would be happy, just were great. It didn't materialize. Our fears were not materialized. Our Amazon sales are crazy. We are experiencing the same kind of thing Dick was talking about, with just the volume is overwhelming, because we came back slowly. Our demographic of volunteers, I'm sure, is very similar to the rest of you, and there were concerns among some of our volunteers about coming back, and so we kind of started slowly, and quickly realized after we had 42 orders one Monday that 2 of them could not continue to handle that. And so we made some adjustments there, but I continue to be really surprised about the volume of people continuing to shop online. And I have said I'm not making any more predictions about pandemic-related issues, because I did not anticipate that people would continue with their discretionary buying. So, all right, well, I feel like the pandemic really caused our group, and I'm sure your group, to kind of reevaluate everything you were doing. So would you just tell us how your organization has adapted its fundraising plans? Sharon, you want to start us with that one?
Well, I'll be glad to. But like I said, because we're not accepting donations, and we are very limited, because our county is pretty much shut down still, our library system, that we're just not able to access books and to have branch sales and annual book sales. So like I said, I think our focus this year is going to be on our books in the community, and until we can open up and have a branch sale. They just don't feel like that we are able to do those. Our annual book sale is not scheduled until next April. I'm very hopeful that that will take place. We're a huge supporter of our Empty Stocking Fund here in, it was a Christmas time, feeding families in December, and we always supplied books to the children there and gave away books. We are also not able to do that this year. So our hands are really tied. So I think that our community has been so supportive just with monetary donations that we will look for another chip-in campaign, maybe to help us in the spring with that, to see if things open back up. Again, we're looking at online, but we don't really have a place to do those. So we're still reevaluating, but we're holding on. And fortunately, we are very financially stable right now, that we can help our library, that we can still pay our coordinator, and that we can still run our bookstore in the downtown library.
All right, Dick, what are your fundraising plans?
Well, I show up every day. That helps, I think, some. We are seriously considering having a monthly book sales, regardless of the COVID thing or not. I think that may be the new model that we go through rather than quarterly book sales. I think we space out the quarterlies a little too far, and it affects our process quite a bit. Books pile up, where we've been impressed with how books are flowing through there during the COVID thing, and I think it's changed our thinking in that respect. You touched on some of this, that we're able, because of the donations that are coming in, and they are just flooding in, and so we're going back and reevaluating our mix of books. We're really blessed, I guess, in that we have this massive basement that we're set up in all the time. And the downside of that is that sometimes you keep books that probably needed to go a long time ago and are not going to sell, at least in Blount County. And so we're going back now and reevaluating a lot of these books and being able to replace them with some of the newer and better and more saleable books. And I think going forward, we're going to have a better mix of books to offer for sale. We started a bookstore upstairs in the middle of this COVID thing. I mean, everybody was doing projects, like you say, that they didn't have time for, and we had time to take over an office and turn it into a small bookstore. It's got a lot of potential. I'll put it that way. It's not necessarily making us any. It's not helping our budget much right now. But once things loosen up a little bit, we're optimistic about that. A lot of our outreach programs have had to be discontinued, and we're not going to do away with them. We're just waiting for the opportunity to get back into them. The different places we send books out to. But yeah, the change in the book schedule is probably the main difference that we're going to see.
Great. All right, Jacqueline.
Okay, thank you. One thing for sure, our memberships are still steady, and the renewals are coming in steady. We're not having anyone discontinue anything where memberships are concerned, because we were able to boost our memberships up significantly to like well over 1,000 members in a short period of time. So we've been able to maintain that. Our online store is going to continue. It's doing very well. We have volunteers socially distanced doing the listing in the library, but we have a number of volunteers who pick up boxes of books every couple of days and take them home and list them as well. So that's also been contributing to, because we can get so many listed and we have a number listed, that our sales have been so, good online. Also, the bookstore is going to continue as it is going. We will increase the hours But like I said, the amount of money we make per hour anyway is still continuing, even though the hours are limited. People are just buying a lot more. So that will continue. We have been looking at the a Facebook Live, maybe book sale kind of thing. We're still talking about maybe pulling that off, because we will not have the sale in October like we normally would, our fall sale, because our sales, we'll have upwards of 5,000 people show up. So we could not figure out how to distance that and make that really work, where the library would allow us to do that. We have gotten a number of generous donations. We've been surprised at actually the number of $1,000 donations just out of the blue, of people sending to the library that they still want to continue to support us. So those kinds of things we would just continue to hope we have. And like I said, the online is doing great. Bookstore is doing very well. The donations, membership, so a combination of those things, and it's been going very good. So I foresee that's what we will keep doing.
I love the idea of a Facebook Live sale where you got to claim this book is a number 162. Comment mine 162.
Yes. One other thing I forgot to mention, you mentioned that we actually have a tremendous amount of sales through an auction house, that we have volunteers pick up books and take to an auction house, and we get a ton of sales through the auction house. So that's been another source of our revenue that has continued throughout the whole process. It's been phenomenal.
So are those more your vintage books?
Yes, we have lots of vintage books, and they have been selling like hotcakes. Yeah, yes, very. That's been very, very healthy income from that.
That's awesome.
Jacqueline, can I ask you a question? Just for a second. What rewards or privileges do you offer your members? I mean, with ours, we were having 3-day sales, and then they got the first day of the sale, and that was their big reward. Now with just a single day, there's membership.
We have the same thing, but what we would do is actually for the members, we would have our Friends Day, and we would actually have hors d'oeuvres, and we would have music. I just turned it into a party.
Jacqueline turns everything into a party. Let me just stop. Jacqueline turns everything into a party.
I'm serious. People would be lined up. I mean, we would start the sale at 4. They would start lining up about 2:30. We would have hundreds of people in line with their membership cards, because they knew they could not get into my party without that membership card. And if they didn't have it, we would get upwards of 40 and 50 new members within 3 hours of that. But they would come in, and I would have it very festive, and I had it catered by one of the guys in the bookstore who's actually a one-man, or what he calls a one-trick pony, but he's excellent. He always would do it for me as a favor, and we would set it up really amazing. And since I've been president for this 4th year, they have been looking forward to this. And in October, I would turn that sale into a masquerade party. So spring was just a regular, social party. And then the fall would be this masquerade party. And then, they just really got to where they just couldn't wait to come in there, because before I became president, the book sales were like, really, to me, watching paint dry. It was just whatever. So I would even have very nice, I would call it elevator music, but they used to have no music. So I would play that elevator music or spend your money music, and it would go fantastic. And we would get lots of the volunteers encouraging people to join the Friends as gifts to family members. And they would buy tons of memberships for children, nieces, nephews, cousins. And so we would just have those as push them in October as stocking stuffers, which they would do quite a bit of that. But, our members get the book bags when they get a 3-year membership. And then we also promoted reminding them, because they are friends, and we love them as our friends. When we would have other events before COVID, Friends got preferential seating. They also would receive a cocktail or beverage of their choice. And we just really catered to our friends at the sale, and as well as carried that membership privilege to other things that they would have at the library. We had an author come in. If you are a member of Friends, you got to sit up front, and we would even have a special reception with the Friends members and that particular author. You know, so we just would take a little extra to make them feel really privileged to be a friend.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
No, Jacqueline is. I have stolen many of Jacqueline's ideas. I will admit now that I came back from our annual meeting last 2 springs ago. Seems like forever ago, with notes and notes and notes of things that she said that we have then enacted. But I have to tell you, music at the book sale can make a huge difference in your sales.
It does.
Stay. My book sale chair right now is fantastic. She loves 80s music.
Yeah.
We blast 80s music all weekend from Freegal, which is the library service. So we're promoting this free library service that patrons are like, how are you doing this? And like, oh, you can do this with your library card. So it's a good reciprocal arrangement there. But people singing along at the book sale is just
they love
a
it. You know,
joy.
we could do that. Thank you for being a friend. Song, we would play that over and over. We have another guy who makes CDs because we have Memphis music, you know, from these Memphis musicians, and he would make a CD and we would give those away as gifts, and then we would play it also in addition to some elevator music, and it would just get people just where they would actually not leave, and they would keep spending because they want to hear the rest of the song.
Yes. I totally agree. It just keeps people there longer, and they shop more, and they just we just get a lot of positive comments about our 80s, you know, air supply selection. But all right,
well,
Danielle.
Let me add this, if I may, that we added little seating arrangements so people can actually take the load off for a moment, and then they would rest for a minute, listen some more, and then they would get up and go shop some more.
I love it.
It's been good, yeah.
All right, well, Danielle, you talked about going virtual. Is there anything else you want to talk about your fundraising plans?
We, other than going virtual for this year's event, we still hope to do the same. We always do an annual appeal letter that we send out to donors for a year-end ask. And so this year we're going to include a portion of our annual report in that. This year we're celebrating 15 years of the program, and in January of this year we mailed our 3 millionth book for Imagination Library. So we're going to include that information and do a traditional mailing that we've always done, so people get a letter in the mail with a donation card, because we've noticed people are still willing to give, and there's a lot of people that still can give, and they want to support programs so that they don't fail. So things that you can keep doing, I would keep doing those. We're still going to do the paper mailing. We've encouraged people to, with the luncheon, we have a lot of online options to give. They can give through PayPal, they can give through our website. We have a Venmo link that you can give through. So any opportunity that we have for people to give and to make it easy, we're putting that out there. So it's worked for us so far, so we're just going to keep doing what we're doing and play it by ear. We've learned to be very flexible, so we'll see what happens next year. If we need to do the same thing and go virtual, we'll do that again, but we'll keep getting the mission out there to support the Imagination Library program.
Well, I think that it's in the beginning of the pandemic, I felt like you were walking a very narrow line because you wanted to be respectful of people who were losing their jobs or losing sources of income, restricting their flow of money, but you also need to continue to fundraise. You have to, there are certain services that you want to continue to provide to your library. So I know that's very tricky, and I certainly experienced a couple of my board members expressing concern about us even asking for membership renewals. But what we found is people are still willing and interested in supporting the library and supporting the Friends. So you know, Jacqueline says, get your ask on.
That's right. Get your
And
ass
so I did that. I got my ask on, and I made that request anyway. So for our friends group, one of the things that we drastically have changed is this idea of pop-up sales. That was not something we had thought of doing before, because it exhausts. When you do a quarterly book sale or annual book sale, you somewhat exhaust your volunteers, because you've got those core group, and to do that for 4 or 5 days, 10 hours a day, then it's like they want to go hide until the next quarterly sale. So Michelle, my book sale chair, and I kind of proposed this idea and said, hey, we don't want to go to that well again with our same volunteers. Can the board step up, or can we find some other friends who might be willing to get involved for this 2-hour time commitment? And we did one right as we were closing for the pandemic that had been scheduled for a long time. And people came in and bought their book supply for the pandemic. So we're like, maybe this might work. And so we've recently had a media pop-up sale because, like I said, the library had weeded everything, including books on CDs, playaways, DVDs, and music CDs. So we did all of those and had people lined up at the door to come get those, and that was fantastic. We sold a bunch of things that had no space. We had no space to hold for the October sale. So that's kind of what we're thinking. We've also done, I did offer to all of our members what was left from that sale, like as a lot. You could buy all the DVDs for a certain price or all the CDs, and I actually sold those as a lot. We have several book resellers who have become members now because they get that early entrance into the sale. And we don't care who buys them as long as they buy them. It's kind of our philosophy. And so they found those kind of deals of a lot interesting, because even if they sold half of them, they had doubled or tripled their money. And we just didn't have the space and knew that they were unlikely to sell for us at the book sale. All right, so in our last remaining few minutes, I want to talk about what lessons you think you've learned and what changes have you made during the pandemic that you think you're going to continue. Some of you have alluded to those things, but what do you think is the takeaway that you will continue moving forward? All right, Dick, you're up.
Me first? Why me?
You first.
Okay. Well, one of the things we started recently, and we're merely a part of it, but now we're central to it, is we've started a new farmers market in Maryville. This is an artisanal market in which we have artisans that actually can participate in this market as well. We sponsored that and get a percentage out of that. It has been a tremendous help in getting our name and our sales information out to people that normally would not have gone inside the library. They'll come out to that grassy knoll where we are and buy tomatoes, but they didn't know anything about the library. And in a way that is serving the same purpose as the pop-up sales that we used to have, where we would have those tying into some event. It's amazing how many people are born and raised in this county and don't know the library has a lower level, and much less book sales down there. So we will continue that. Obviously not in the winter, but next spring we'll start that back up again. As I said, we'll probably continue with the sales probably on a monthly basis. We've learned that there are different items that we can sell online that we never dreamed we could sell online, and we're constantly learning about that. And I think it's opening up a lot of our members, a lot of our workers, to new ideas when they see that the way we've always done it is not working anymore, and probably won't work for the foreseeable future. And so they're opening up to new ways to process the books, new ways to sell the books, and of course, which books are selling and get rid of the ones that are not selling. So it goes on. And we have a very good recycler, so we're able to get those books out the back door pretty good. So that's about it.
I love the farmers market idea. That's great, because you're providing a community service in addition to publicity for you and the friends. That's
it's
great.
Worked well.
It's a great idea.
Worked well. Yeah.
All right, Jacqueline.
Well, we will continue to allow more volunteers who would want to volunteer from home, continue to volunteer from home in terms of listing even more books. That seems to have been tremendous value, because we have a number of older volunteers who simply can't come in, but they can manage quite a bit from their home, and they want to do it. So we're going to probably continue doing that. I'm going to continue to keep my ass in gear in terms of letting them know donations and just literally ask for it, and continue to remember to ask them to renew their memberships, to get memberships and that type of thing. We are going to continue with our partnerships in terms of, we have partnerships with Habitat with Humanity, and they also actually do quite a bit of publicity for us, because we joined with them and we decided that for every new home built in Shelby County by Habitat, we would provide that new home with a bookcase full of books. And they have absolutely just loved that. So that's been great. And they have in turn put our names on big billboards and on their website. So it's been fantastic with that. We still donate to the jail, to schools, and we would keep up with our little libraries that we've been doing. But the bookstore, of course, will continue to expand its hours and actually go back to normal. And whenever the book sale resumes, it'll just resume as normal, whenever that is, like everyone else, I'm sure. But just some simple little things like that. Nothing, drastic, but we'll just resume those kinds of things.
Yeah, I love the idea about volunteers working from home. That is a great thing to explore, because for so many of our volunteers, I was lost without being able to go to the library. It's a community center. I have a great Amazon team that they have worked together for a decade or more, some of them. Mm-hmm. And, they go out to lunch together. They are friends.
Right.
And it's very important. The social aspect of our volunteers is also
so
very important.
Volunteers with the computer. We went in and helped them get their computers set up. They didn't have to use their personal computers. We provided the computer and everything for them, and our IT person would go out and distance and do what he needed to do to make sure they were set up to handle whatever we were doing at home. And then, continue the monthly meetings. However, I have not been doing the Zoom because there really hasn't been anything to really per se meet about, but I do an email of activity of things that I may be doing or things that they need to know that's going on. And because they are older, sometimes they have difficulty doing the Zoom and doing the conference calls and stuff. So the email method has been working actually quite well. And then in between, we do call everybody and talk and visit on that way. And we have just enjoyed that tremendously.
Okay, Danielle, you may have already addressed most of this, but tell us what things you're going to continue.
Yes, I think I touched on it, but just reiterate flexibility, being able to try new things, maybe something that hasn't worked before, or you never thought you would ever do. Yes. to reach out and try it, because even if it's not a success, it's still, getting your, like you all said, getting your volunteers involved, getting your board members involved in supporting the organization. So try new things, be flexible, just keep getting the word out there about the program, because we hopefully we'll eventually get back to doing our regular things, but we can't stop, you know, asking for donations, and people that can give will, and people that aren't able to right now, they'll remember that when they are able to give. So I don't think it's, I think it is worth continuing to ask to give people that opportunity. So best of luck.
Change is hard, and I feel like this is a forced change. You know, it really has opened up the possibilities of what can we try. And one of the things we tried, we did a bag sale a box sale at the end of our July book sale, and we just thought this was a fantastic idea, and we'd wanted to try it for years. And I was like, if it doesn't work, we'll just say it was the pandemic, and we'll never do it again. So this is a great opportunity that you try something, and if it doesn't work, okay, we just said it's the pandemic. And by the way, it did not work for our community. I know a lot of you guys have great bag and box sales, but our community just doesn't work for us. And but we found out now, and now we never have to do it. We did that for the pandemic. No, we will not be having another one of those. So that's my excuse and my reason for a lot of things. Okay, Sharon.
Well, once again, I think you go back and you kind of look that you can't depend upon branch and an annual book sale. So again, the asking worked for our organization last spring. However, you can't just you feel like you just can't do that. But we have formed a fundraising committee to look at some alternatives of different ways that we can get rid of the books and still fundraise and do some money. We also are getting ready to do our membership drive, kicking off in October. And we are getting ready to celebrate our 50th anniversary as a Friends group. In fact, it's next Tuesday, September the 29th. So we are challenging our members to join at the $50 level. And we're hoping to increase our membership monies through that, and renewals is a little bit more other than just that $10 membership. I think that we will really have to go to some online sales. We're going to have to figure that out for our organization and how we can make that work. I know I've gotten lots of good ideas here. So hopefully that's where I think we're going to start. But it has been eye-opening that you can't just depend on what you've always done. There are ways to do different things. And I think we'll be stronger and better for our community for doing that.
I think that's exactly right, Sharon. That's the perfect nutshell. The change will eventually make us stronger and better. It's difficult right now, but it's going to make it better. For our group, I think that we will, some of the practical changes just for the book sale about wider aisles, because we're trying to keep people 6 feet apart. Shoppers loved. They were like, I didn't feel like I was all crowded, you know. We have offered more members only shopping times. We felt badly that we couldn't provide the perk of an author lunch. We do 2 of those a year, and obviously we're going to miss both of those for this year. And so we were like, how can we compensate them that doesn't cost us any money, but is a benefit and a positive thing for them? So we have really increased those so that now they're every morning of the sale. So from 9 to 10 every morning you can come in before it's open to the public. And that also is a comfort level for a lot of our volunteers, that they know there are fewer people that are coming in at that time. So some practical little things like that we're definitely going to keep. I think pop-ups we're definitely going to keep. I think we're going to do a lifetime membership drive for some of our longtime volunteers and members who have long paid their lifetime dues, but I want them to go ahead and write that check, and I'll make that ask. So I think it's a good mix of big changes, global changes of how we think about things, and then smaller practical practical things. But I want to say thank you to all of you for sharing your experiences. They were so diverse and interesting. And the Friends of Tennessee Libraries is always available to provide support and mentoring to our other Friends groups. Please contact us. You can visit our website at friendstnlibraries.org to learn more and hopefully join our organization. We would love to have you to help us with our mission to support friends and libraries. Stay well. Thank all of you guys for what you do for libraries, and happy National Friends of Libraries Week.
Yes.
Thank you.